Welcome to the Hottest Wellness Podcast. I've got time with Cherry ShaKayla.
Here we discuss personal growth, relationships, and healing to become aligned with the best version of ourselves.
What's up, girl?
Nothing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a Monday.
A Monday?
Yeah. Do you feel like the energies of each day really matter?
I think it matters if you have the space to receive them.
That's good the way you explained that. That's true. The energies of the day do matter. Monday is like moon day. So this is the time to confront like your inner feelings. It's a time for you to get in touch with your moon sign, whatever that placement is for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, happy moon day.
Happy Moon Day. How you feeling?
I feel good. I started my new color today. And so this color is like really doing something to me.
It's making you want to salsa.
I ain't say that. If you want me to salsa, just say that. I don't know how to salsa though. I don't know how to salsa dance. Maybe like a little bachata.
I thought you knew how to salsa.
Merengue.
You was teaching me something one time.
I don't think it was salsa.
Stepping
it probably
it
was
out.
like merengue or something.
This is me doing it.
Plus, I feel like depending on the location of the ethnicity, they have like different type of dance and stuff. And like, so I predominantly know Mexican people. My Hispanic dancing reflects that of, Mexican culture. So yeah,
I'm a twerker.
I can be. I was a real twerker in my 20s. And when I get around certain people, they bring the energy out of me. I'll say that. But for the most part, I'm not. I remember this was like a minute ago, but you remember the Bust It Challenge?
Mm-hmm.
And like this one, we was working on the blank space. And so we was all like, okay, we're all going to do it. And then we did all record the challenge. We did not all post the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. When I posted mine, my sister was like, I literally never even seen you dance like that. And that really didn't occur to me because I be living my life,
Yeah.
Somebody might say to me, all they know is twerking. So,
Twerk that ass.
It's like, depending on who you are, you might get a different version of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, it's certain stuff you just don't do around your family because they never let you see the end of it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
Or just wouldn't accept it. Why are you doing that? It's so unladylike.
No, my family not like that.
That's mine.
Me and my cousins and like my sister, when we was little, we would do like makeup dance routines. Like we was giving full choreo. My auntie Bobby would babysit us when like our mamas was out, kicking it. And she would be hosting like a dance contest with us, so
That
we used to be getting in. My sister will literally twerk upside down on the wall. It's amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like she would not judge me. She just don't know that side of me. But I wouldn't twerk on the wall though. It's like maybe more in my drinking days I was just like out here getting it.
I respect that.
Do you?
I do respect it. People change.
Yeah. Do you ever feel some type of way that certain people know that side of me, but you haven't really like met her yet?
Yeah. It depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to hear more about this, but I don't want to get too off track.
Off mic.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling things. I'm feeling nervous and anxious. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling Like, I need to hurry up and do stuff so I can change my life.
Well, it's no rush. Well, I can't say you don't feel that way, but you know what I mean. Like, be aware of why you feel that way. Like, what are you getting in a rush to?
Because I'm tired of going to work. I'm tired, Grandpa! Yeah.
Well, I don't want to refer back to last week's episode on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta keep hearing it for it to sink in. I'm one of those people.
Me too. Sometimes stuff just hit different when you hear from somebody else, or if you just hear it said a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes an experience gotta prove some shit to me. Like, you know what? Okay, I will have more faith next time. Go off then.
Yeah. Because stuff always works out.
Speaking of going off, you got anything to get off your chest this week?
I'm going to leave it up to you.
Damn.
Excuse me. I had something on the docket, but I was just in my feelings. So that didn't really count. It wasn't really a get it off your chest.
Oh, okay. There's a couple things I did want to get off my chest this week. I'm going to start with the one I feel like I can get over with quickest, so we don't have to be here long. I kind of been a little irritated how much time we've been spending on getting off our chest this week. But I'm like, okay, be present in that. Maybe you just like really do need to get it off.
Get it off, baby.
Did you see that clip circulating around with Tyler Perry being interviewed and him saying that he feels like essentially black women should settle more?
Mm-hmm. Or be comfortable with where your man is.
I feel like not even be comfortable where your man is, but lower your standards to allow a man into your life.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what it was more given. Like, you're single and he's single, and so if you want to be with somebody, you should just take him at not his best, or with the understanding that he may not ever get to what you feel like his best should be. And that was very frustrating for me.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to a lot of people stitch the video all week, and so I was like, okay, how do I really feel about this? Like, what do you think? What did you have any type of emotional response when you heard that?
As someone who has a history of, if a nigga can't pay something, that's okay, I think it's a terrible idea. Because unless you are truly comfortable with taking care of a nigga, then you shouldn't make yourself deal with it. Like, yeah, I enjoy taking care of my home, but I don't enjoy taking care of a man. And there's a difference.
Do you feel like you're more willing to, like, say, like, take care of me than you would be if you was dating a man? Like, you have a different standard for dating men and women?
At this point in life, yes. In the past, child, that was my charity to the world, taking care of a nigga.
I hate to hear that.
Yeah.
I've mentioned this before, but I come from a strong female background, a very independent woman background. And so even though a lot of the women in my life was giving, I don't need a nigga, there was some women in my life that would refuse to even entertain dating a dude if he couldn't do nothing for her or benefit her life in any way, and mostly financially. And maybe when I was younger, I didn't totally understand because I was like feelings first. But it kind of like made me think about this episode of The Real where Jenny Mai and Adrian Bailon was like going back and forth, and Adrian was saying that she want to be with somebody that she wouldn't care if they was broke together. And I resonated with that to a certain extent. But then Jenny Mine was like, okay, but you never been in a relationship with somebody where they put you in a position where you was worse off financially dealing with them. And what scarcity does to your relationship, like love is not enough. And I've been in relationships where I did feel like love was not enough. And I feel like in certain relationships like this one, for me, love is more enough than it has been in the past. So I low-key feel like it's a case-by-case thing. But then I also feel like my pride and just like consciously I'm the same way as like my grandmother, as my mom. Like I'm not about to entertain something that's not like enhancing my lifestyle. Like, yeah, in some way it gotta be benefiting me, but it also can't be to the point where I feel like it is a disservice or that I'm settling. Like, and I feel like that's what he was encouraging, because the message was specific to black people, which was interesting. Black women, and basically telling us like, okay, so if he can only play the light bill, what's so wrong with that if you got everything else? And it's like, to a certain extent, it's not something wrong with that, because there's plenty of women that are out earning their counterparts right now, especially black women, because we're the most educated we've ever been, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're just the most forward in our career, and statistically more forward in our careers than men at this point. Yeah. And so he's saying that all the work and effort that we put into growing and evolving, and even that including finances, that you should not get a partner that's at your same level or better. Like, I might not be able to meet Cherry financially where she's at, but it's other ways that I meet her that I feel like compensates, you know? And I just don't understand why he himself would put that message out as a whole billionaire. It was giving very agenda. And I mean, you know how I feel about Taylor Perry in general. He is not somebody that I feel like really promotes healthy messaging in the black community, especially geared towards black women. Like, I don't think that he like us for real. And so it's no surprise hearing him say that stuff, but I just feel like he got a responsibility with such a large platform, and he never takes it seriously.
I mean, that's also just a part of his media anyways. In all his movies, there's a broke nigga that really ends up with the girl. He really is a nice guy. But it's in everything. There's always a broke nigga that ends up getting a girl.
Like, you think about one of his most popular plays and movie, Diary of Mad Black Woman. And, like, literally the nigga Charles was like, I'm out of here. I'm getting me a younger, more beautiful, light-skinned, racially ambiguous woman, and I'm out to kick you to the curb. And he used his finances to get with that girl. And when he was in a rough spot where he wasn't going to be able to provide financially because the nigga was like, couldn't even really walk or do nothing, that girl was out so fast. Yeah. And it's so funny because that sounds trending right now on TikTok.
Oh yeah, shorties when they were at the table. That movie was crazy.
Yeah, that movie is one of the worst movies. And at the time when it came out, a lot of people was into it, but I think that we just wasn't as reflective as a community that we is now. You know? It just frustrated me, so I feel like no person really should be encouraging women, especially black women, to settle. We've been through too much. Black women have had to repeatedly settle in history over again. And it's like 2023. And there's so many opportunities available for men to get their bag up. And if they don't, I don't feel like women should have to suffer because of that. Like, yeah, no.
I agree. And I feel like a lot of men are already so used to being taken care of anyways. Once you start doing that with a man, it's no going back. Like, he's going to expect you to continue to take care of him, and he's not going to do anything to change it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like if that boundary's not set up front immediately, he's gonna know what it is that he can, take advantage of you in a relationship.
Yeah.
And financial abuse is a thing. Like, it's very much a thing.
Yeah.
I think that's all I'm gonna get off on my chest today.
You
Save
sure?
something for another day. Yeah.
Okay, girl.
Want to get into the affirmation of the week?
Let's do it.
This week's affirmation is, I let go of all that I am not so that I may become all that I am.
I feel like that was for me.
You do?
I feel like that goes along with me getting into the music and just shedding off the fear and the anxiety and just
Enjoying the creativity.
yeah.
I feel like you should listen back to that episode where we were talking about like the different stages of, was it like growth? I can't remember. And one of them was like creation, knowledge. Like, maybe you should listen back to that. I'm starting to feel like we got an episode for everything, low-key.
Yeah.
And I like that for me.
Because we like that.
This affirmation was really touching for me. It came to me and I was like, this didn't really go with this week, but I feel like it needed to be said. And I think I needed to hear it too. We like Life Path 5, so we like very much always into the energy of change and transformation. And that can be so fucking exhausting sometimes.
Yeah.
Mainly because we don't be ready to let go of whatever version of ourselves or the lifestyle that we curated. So we like, trying to hold on to this version of ourselves that we created. Like, for a long time, I wanted to hold on to the version of me that was meek or, just not like really saying how I feel, or the version of me that don't want to be seen at all. And it's like, I can't be that version of me with the goals that I have.
Yeah.
And
that's the tricky part.
Yeah. I feel like there's something that reflects, like, yeah, maybe all of this stuff was just, ingrained in me through society, through the expectations of my family, and none of that was actually who I am. And like, to become who I want to be, the person that is, in alignment with the highest version of me, then I'm gonna have to lay some shit alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time to get out there, go onto the stage, and let the spotlight guide your way.
The spotlight. That's a read.
For real.
So what are we discussing this week?
This week, unlike Tyler Perry, we are going to discuss why you should get married, or just the idea of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
What's it about? What's the point? Does it even matter?
Does marriage have value? I feel like on a grand scale, but also does marriage have value for you personally? Is a good question. Like,
yeah.
When I stopped being with my ex, I did not see the value in marriage no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I felt like it was white man paperwork, which it is still. It's very much a bonding contract, financially, emotionally, spiritually. It is a thing. But I feel like marriage is only what you put into it. And it requires both people to be putting in for it to work. And sometimes in marriage, it's not going to be both people at all times, because your partner be needing you to support them, or vice versa. But there has to be some consistency with just both people seeing the value at all times, and being able to show up and say, this is what I really want. Because if you value something, then you're going to really want it. It's not going to be something that feels like a burden or a chore to you. Which, in my experience, I've witnessed a lot of people, both men and women, that be the nature of their marriage.
Like it's a chore?
And then, well, maybe I'm not using the right word, but those people who think marriage has to be a struggle. that it's supposed to be hard.
Oh my
A lot of people
God.
describe marriage and they say it's so hard and it's so difficult and it's going to be all these ups and downs. And then just like the vows when you get married, like for better or for worse, which is totally a thing. But I feel like when we get married, I don't want to say for better or worse. I want to say like with unconditional love at all times. Because I don't think you should have to set yourself up for the expectation that things is going to be worse regularly. Like, although there might be circumstances within our relationship where things may, not even our relationship, in our environment, where things might be worse, I don't ever feel like our relationship is worse, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever feel like it's a struggle every day to be with you. And I think, to me, that is what takes away from the value of marriage, is people just doing it.
Yeah. I really hate when people say, when they do say it's so hard. Because what is hard? Is it the fact that y'all really don't like each other and you're just making it work? Is it because you're both like stuck in who you think you are and you don't want to change to have a better or healthy relationship? Is it because you forced your partner to get married in the first place and they're like subconsciously rebelling against the relationship because they don't want to be there? What is making your marriage hard? Like, I really hate that. And then it's like, why are you telling me that I'm going to have a hard marriage?
Yeah, why are you projecting it on me based off of your lived experience? Like, it's not like that for everybody. And the reason people think it is like that is how marriage is depicted on TV and movies, I feel like. We talked about that in another episode. Like, it wasn't just marriage, it was like relationships in general. And it was such a good episode. Y'all should, like, go back and listen to it. We'll
go back and listen to all our episodes. And while you're at it, subscribe.
Why do you think people should get married? Like, maybe the verbiage is wrong, not like should get married. What are the reasons to get married if that's what you want?
You know, I used to not even consider the idea of marriage.
Why?
I think it came from a place of me not thinking that I could have it, which is a whole different conversation. But then, you know, I kept growing, evolving, all that stuff. And then I came to, well, maybe I just want to get married to somebody that, like, I want to marry somebody that I wouldn't mind starting a business with. Because then I was thinking about it like, it's a business contract. You know, I feel like everybody goes through that stage of, well, it's a contract. And then I think entering our relationship and experiencing, I feel like, an actual, real, and healthy relationship where both people are growing individually. It's like, oh, I think that you should marry somebody that you want to create with. Because you're creating your life. You're creating who you are and who you want to be. And all the other stuff is involved, like finances and stuff. But, like, you want to create that too with the person. I feel like marriage should be looked at like, I want to marry this person because I want to create with them. Yeah, I said all that to say that.
I have a lot of reasons of why people should get married. And I feel like it's necessary to have a combination of all these things. I think that if you only have one reason of why you should get married to a person, you're going to be on your wedding day having cold feet. Dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
I think that if y'all have similar goals, if y'all have fun together and can be in that childlike energy with each other is super important. I think that if you can feel supported, but it's mutual, like it's not just one-sided, one person being the support all the time. And even if it's like y'all got different love languages, so y'all need to show up for each other differently, it's still got to be mutual, you know. I feel like marriage requires strength and courage to grow. You have to be willing to have personal growth, and you have to be accountable for your own growth. I feel like if you and your person are not both individually accountable for your growth, that eventually that's going to start to impact your marriage and could, you know, lead to dissolution of marriage. And lastly, most importantly, got to be unconditional love, because as you changing or as you growing, that unconditional love is what's going to ground your relationship. And so even if as you're getting to know your partner at a new stage, you still having so much unconditional love for them where it's not wavering, you know what I'm saying? Love is an emotion, just like sadness, just like happiness. So might not feel it all day every day for a person, but if it's unconditional, no matter where you at or no matter where they are at, you're going to show up from a place of love in a relationship. And that don't mean necessarily willing to receive the love, which is important too, but just like ready to give it in whatever way that they might need it at that point. Yeah. If you're not willing to do all those things, I feel like maybe you should consider doing some other things with your relationship before you take the step of marriage. Like me and Cherry decided that we want to be married to each other. We probably decided this maybe like a year or more ago. Yeah. But we don't want to be married yet, because there's things individually that we want to work on, and there's a place that we want to be on in our relationship, and there's so many aspects of it that I feel like it would be unhealthy for us to be married now, because I think that there is a difference in being in a relationship and being married. It is. Even though, you know, I'll say something like, oh, it's just papers. In a sense it is, but in a sense it's not.
What's the difference, you think?
Of it just being papers?
Well, the difference between being in a relationship and being married.
I think it's obviously a larger scale of a commitment, because now you done got the government involved in your business. There's more responsibility with a marriage. Like once I get married to you and you get married to me, I feel like the expectations kind of like get higher in a sense. Like now I'm expecting you to really be down for me in a way. And so if you're not with the right partner, they might take advantage of that. The expectation is for you to really be down for them. And when you just in a relationship, at any point you can leave, and there won't be like a huge, I feel like, emotional toll on your personal self-esteem, how you value yourself. Like getting a divorce is some shit. And not just the paperwork of it, the actual emotional stuff you have to go through. It's like going through a breakup on 10, because there's the stuff like people judging you for getting a divorce, people not understanding, people looking from the outside in and thinking, oh, but they had such a good relationship on Facebook, and not understanding the true things that's going on in your relationship and how you not might be together. There's like higher stakes, versus as you in a relationship, you have more control, I feel like, over yourself, and there's more space for you to be more selfish. When I'm married, who I am now, I just want to be able to show up differently on several different ways in our relationship, and I can't do that right now. And so I don't think we're ready to get married. Like I think we should go to therapy before then, like couples therapy. I think that our finances need to be in a certain place before we get married. You know what I'm saying? And I'm willing to buy a house before we get married together. So I don't know, it's a lot of difference.
I definitely think that people should consider being in a better financial place before they get married. For some reason, a lot of people skip that, and then they get married, and then it's a whole bunch of issues around finances.
Yeah, I think that the reason is a lot of people be a product of the environment, and so they did not get that like background of finances, financial literacy and stuff, and they really do be leading with their heart. Like, okay, I do love them, and that's enough. But that's not a reality to you in the situation, and love ain't doing nothing for you. You know what I'm saying? So
when I worked at Redacted as a cashier, this guy used to come in the store all the time, and like every other time he was in the store, he would just start singing out of nowhere. Like, I think like I love you for real, but love can't pay my bills. I don't know if it's a real song, but he was singing it.
it sounds like some Jill Scott shit.
Child, he was singing it like it was like in the old jukebox days.
No, definitely that's something like somebody would be saying in the back of the days. It definitely was a lot of pick me music. But there was the women that be like, nigga, no.
Yeah, because that's some real shit. Like, I can love you all day long, but I'm not finna love you on the street.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't be ready to hear that truth. That somebody is not willing to be with you under those circumstances, and they'll try and call you shallow or a gold digger or something. It's like, y'all have to really be for real. Requiring somebody to be financial stable before marriage is not you being a gold digger or a pick me. Like, it's being invested in yourself and invested in a relationship to a certain extent. Like, if somebody cares about you before they get married to you, they're gonna make sure they pocket straight so that you don't have certain worries. It's easier to focus on just loving somebody when other aspects of your relationship is stress free. When you start having stress in all these other areas of your life, your work pissing you off, you're not making good money, you hate where you live, it's going to put a burden and a damper on your relationship no matter how much you love each other, because it's affecting you personally. Whatever affects you personally is going to bleed into the relationship with yourself and with your partner.
Yeah, that's why it's important to make sure that you can find happiness outside of the relationship as well.
So I have to ask you, and this is like a general opinion, you know what I'm saying? It's not like specific or anything. Do you feel like, with all that being said, there are some reasons why people generally get married though, and it's not none of the stuff we just listed? Like, it's common. These is the reasons people get married.
I think that the biggest reason people get married is because they just think that it's the next step in life. Like how a lot of times you'll hear men say, well, I'm 30 years old, it's time for me to settle down and find somebody. It's like, just because you're 30?
It's starting to feel more like 50, I feel like, low key.
These days.
Yeah, these days. I do feel like there becomes societal pressure at a certain age to be at certain points. And if you have not yet broken away from what you actually want and what is normalized in your community or just in society in general, then you're going to find yourself doing a lot of things that you might later regret because it wasn't what you really wanted. Like, when I got married, I had no ideas really about marriage, and I had no ideas really about what being a wife. But I knew for sure I didn't want no kids. I never wanted kids. And so I compromised to have kids, and it's not to say that I regret Max and Eva, but I often think about what my life would be like if I would have really just stuck to what I wanted. Because I've always been somebody that was goal-oriented and wanted to do a lot of things that, honestly, your life would be a lot more easier if you didn't have kids too.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's a lesson that I be constantly like reflecting on, like, and looking back on that and being more intentional about my choices, you know what I'm saying, and what's really for me or not for me.
Yeah.
I think people get married because for money, for financial stability, or connections. I feel like that's more common like in whiter spaces, honestly, or European, like, you know, because people be white but they be Mexican and white, like not they say Mexican and white because like Mexican is their ethnicity, but they white. The world perceives them as a white person. They're out there every day living authentic white experience. I feel like it's more normal in their communities to be marriage forward because they do see it as a business. You know what I'm saying? Like a while ago, it was this thing going around about how white girls go to college to find a husband. They don't go there to get a profession. And that's totally different how black women operate. You know what I'm saying? We are not marriage minded in that sense. At least not now. I think because it's not forced on us. And I feel like that's something that's like systemic to slavery. Like black women never had a fucking break.
Yeah.
Ever. All the times when they say, oh, women couldn't work, black women was always working. Black women was always nannies. Black women always picking cotton. Black women was always breastfeeding some white lady baby. Like, and when the time came that basically, oh, it was saying like women couldn't work, or black women didn't have to work for white women, then there was an uproar about that. Like, people discuss that often too, like the differences in how we raise our kids and stuff, and why white women is a certain way, and that's because they haven't been raising their children as long as us.
Yeah.
Like, they really ain't got all the keys to success for that.
That's so crazy to think about.
Yeah. I agree with you saying about people saying that's like, oh, that's just the next step in life, but I also think because they feel like it's the right thing. I feel like that kind of come with along with like religious backgrounds and like the family pressure of like, when are y'all gonna get married? When are y'all getting married? Like, soon as you dating somebody seriously and y'all been together for a significant time, or maybe y'all having milestones like moving together or even having the children, they start trying to pressure you to get married. And like, marriage is not for everybody, and sometimes it's just not, we not ready yet to even go into that. But people who are married and have been married for years, the same people that complain about it being so hard, why would you influence like a 19-year-old to get married? That's crazy.
It is.
You can't even think for yourself yet at 19. How are you making a decision that is going to continue to impact you for the rest of your life, such as marriage?
And they really don't wait until you've been together for a while. 6 months, and they're like, okay, so when are y'all getting married? I see y'all over there. Like, bruh, it's been 6 months.
Like, relax.
It's like, that works for some people. Some people can get married after a week, and it lasts forever. But
I'll be like, this ain't even my main nigga. This just the nigga y'all know. Y'all talking about marriage? Hold on. People don't really be knowing what's going on with other people's relationship. They literally just be like telling them shit. Like, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. And it's like, why didn't you do none of that stuff? Or why, if you did that stuff and you were unhappy with the result of your life, why are you encouraging me to do it too? Child, that's what I be saying, that older people be liking you to see younger people down bad sometimes. Or maybe they just haven't yet had the realization that they fucking hate their lives. And they encouraging people to also potentially get in situations where they not going to be happy. In the long term.
I think that's a big one. They don't realize that they're not happy.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know. Because it made me think about a married couple that I know. Like, maybe you know that you're not happy, but you're just so used to that being the way that things are supposed to be. Like, well, I did it. You need to do it too.
There's a huge level of like brainwashing, and I feel like that's what people be passing on. It's the brainwashing. I feel the same way about Christianity, and although this ain't necessarily what it's about, it's like, okay, your mom was a Christian and she went to church every Sunday, and so you did the same thing following her footsteps because you feel like in a way that's respecting and honoring your parents is by being faithful to the religion that you grew up in without questioning anything, or maybe even trying to experience different things to see what's for you. I feel like it's the same thing for marriage. I encourage everybody to date as much as you can in your 20s. Date as many people as you can. Date different types of people. Figure out who you are. What do you like? What makes you happy or adds fulfillment to your life? And then that way you can make an educated decision on who you really want to be with long term. You know what I'm saying? You can't make a decision like that when you are young and you don't know yourself. Like when I got married, I was literally 19. I thought I knew myself. Maybe I knew who I was then. But, you know, and I was so unhealed that also impacted my marriage to the point where neither one of us was showing up as our best self because we were so broken. And why would you willingly encourage people to go into a situation like that? Like, that's crazy.
It doesn't make sense at all to me.
I think another thing too is just general convenience of marriage. Like, a lot of people just settle in marriage, and so it's convenient for them, so they do it. I think that was part of the reason why I got married before, but it was also kind of like environmental pressure, because at the time we was both in the Navy, and that's what people did, was just get married. Part of it was for money, because you get extra money in housing when you marry, but then a lot of it you might be with a guy for 6 months a year, and then y'all get sent to separate duty stations. So when that 6 months or that 1 year, in that moment, you're like, I'm not ready to let this relationship go. I want to be with them. I could see myself with this person. But you don't even know yourself to see yourself with anybody. You don't even see yourself yet.
Yeah.
But then you just do it because that's what everybody else is doing, and it's kind of normal in your community. You know what I'm saying? But it definitely was a huge mistake. It definitely was something I feel like that was divine, and it was going to happen because that was part of my journey. But you know, I wish I had more understanding of marriage and better reasons to get married. Like, getting married out of convenience is not one of them. And I feel like it might be the most risky reason to do it. Like, it's just convenient. Like, well, he asked me, or nobody's really hitting my line yet. Or I feel like men and women equally settle in relationships, but like on different things. You know what I'm saying? I feel like men settle based on their attractiveness. And they might be attracted to a certain type of woman, or maybe a level of a maintenance of a woman that they cannot yet afford, and so they settle for a woman that's in the same place as them at that point in their life, instead of just waiting to level up and get the girl of their dreams. And then their whole life they be shitting, well, the whole marriage they be shitting on their wife because she's never gonna be the girl of your dreams. Like, you settled to be with her. And I feel like it kind of go back to what Tyler Perry was saying. A lot of women, I feel like, settle in relationships financially. Like, it's not going to get better than this. I dated several dudes. It's been 5 years, different dates, different relationships. And I'm technically happy with this guy. I mean, we like each other. Like, I should get married soon. Yeah. One of the worst reasons, though, and I didn't even write this down, but it's coming to me now, to get married is because you're pregnant. Don't get married because you're pregnant. And I feel like that's something that kind of align with Christian values as well, because they feel like you having a baby out of wedlock. The baby was wedlocking once that, like.
I feel like specifically a lot of young men, that's why they be getting married too, because they got somebody pregnant and they think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and they be getting pressure from both parents, from the girl parents, because they like, oh, you got my daughter pregnant, and so now you need to be responsible for her and this child. And like we said previously, you can be responsible for a child and not be in a relationship with that person. Sometimes that's just not always what it's cut out to be. A lot of people do have irresponsible sex situations. Some people, it just be a slip up. You was doing everything you possibly could be doing to prevent it, and still fucking got pregnant. And I feel like at that point, if marriage is so important to you that you feel like you need to be married to the person that you're having a baby with, maybe you need to consider abortion, baby. Which one of these values is more important to you? Being married or having a child, you know what I'm saying, before 40. Like.
Yeah. Something to consider. I'm not quite sure how to respond to that in a respectful manner.
Okay. Well, now that you do see how marriage can be valuable for you, do you feel like there are benefits to marriage? And do you feel like there are different benefits in different type of relationships. Like maybe if it was lesbian or gay, or if you're in a hetero couple, like is there certain benefits that women have that men don't to getting married?
I would say so, based on just my experiences with men and women in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not even getting to the romantic part. I feel like women are more open to actually supporting and caring for you throughout life. And they're more open to growing themselves. And I feel like that's like a way better match for somebody getting married.
Mm-hmm.
Versus I feel like men have to be like coaxed into being a better person or a different person, or like I gotta hope that one day you want to read a book. Like,
yeah, it's not always the case. I do know some men in my personal relationships, and that's because I really don't keep people around me that our values is not in alignment with each other, whether that's friendship, romantic, and sometimes familiar shit.
Yeah.
And so I feel like men in hetero relationships benefit the most from everybody when they get married. And this is statistically proven. You can Google these facts, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they statistically benefit more, because in society, what people praise as a, what do they call it, like the gender roles in the relationship, a woman is going to have more responsibilities in a relationship than with a man. Like when you, it ain't the case for all couples, but when a lot of people get married, the woman takes on that caregiver and nurture role in the household. So that means that the man is not expected to clean or cook as much, like, and do like the responsibilities that you would be doing for yourself as an adult, whether you was together with somebody or not. Like they kind of can lean back on that. I think for women, marriage can be beneficial financially, because say like if I got a divorce and then I took them to court, if they was in a better off financial situation to me and I had like the right legal documents in place, then I could come up on that marriage, you know what I'm saying? Even though
Sorry.
you could even though it didn't work out, there was a benefit to being in that relationship, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe just the expectation, I feel like in hetero relationships, that the man is supposed to provide for the woman. I feel like it's the expectation, but it's not being met, and it hasn't been met in a long time. And when it was being met, it was because we ain't had no choice, you know what I'm saying? It was like women legally couldn't work, and women, they were expected, you know, even from ages like 13 to 15, they was getting married down. You know what I'm saying? And the expectation was for them not only to take care of the home, but to raise the kids. And I feel like that in a lot of situations, that's way more work than going to a job.
It is, especially if you're doing that all day, every day, and then when your partner come home, you got to take care of them too.
24/7, 365. Parenting is a thankless job, okay? And it really does wear down on your mental health. And it no matter how good your kids is, or you know how much you've learned about parenting so you could be a better parent, every parent has their challenges. And it makes the challenges even more difficult when you don't have a relationship that's filled with that support, you know, for each other and for wanting the kids to have a positive outcome and experience. I think that a lot of men glorify women's oppression, like through the lens of the traditional relationship, or saying that they're a traditional man. And that's another reason, like, I feel like marriage don't be as beneficial for women.
I saw a post recently that was like men say they don't want a gold digger, or they look down on gold diggers, and then they say they want a traditional wife, when a traditional wife is staying at home and relying on your money.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the truth?
Yeah. It's not even, to me, a gold digger is like a fallacy. It's something that they made up to like villainize women for wanting the benefit of financial security in relationships when they don't have the means to provide it. I think that's what it is. It's literally like a gaslighting tactic. And I don't put no energy into a nigga that say some dumb ass shit like that to me. Like, you're cut off right now. I think that men do not often know or understand what things mean, and I don't think they really reflect on the history of like the inequalities between being a man or a woman, and why certain systems is set up the way that they are, and just the fact that they were created by men and for men to benefit you. And so they act like it's not beneficial to them to have a woman that they're basically taking care of, this so-called gold digger. And to me, it don't be the fact that they don't be wanting to provide for a woman. They don't want to provide for you, sis. Because you see it all the time in a relationship. People be together and one person be like giving an ultimatum saying, I want to get married. Where's this relationship going? And then they break up because the person's not, stepping up to the plate. And 6 months later, they marry another bitch after they said they didn't want to be married at all. Yeah. And it's like, okay. And I think that sometimes we have to be like really, really honest with ourselves in relationship. If the person that you are dating really want the same things as you or not. Like, if y'all don't have the same goals, y'all not like trying to go into the same direction in life, it's probably not gonna be the best relationship long term. Like, niggas be providers. They just don't want to provide for you. And if they don't want to provide for you, then they're gonna try to villainize you and say you a gold digger. Like, and let's be clear, people who have the money do not say shit like you're a gold digger.
It's not even a conversation if you got it, for real.
It's not even a conversation. Like,
yeah. It's just, this is what it is.
I think too that people ideals about marriage is not very honest. Like, a lot of people generally think that the longer you married, the more successful your relationship is. You could be married 50 years, but if all 50 of those years you were being cheated on or disrespected or abused in some way or another, how successful is that relationship? I consider us to have a successful relationship just off the strength that we are going to continue to grow individually. And that's going to improve our relationship dramatically. The longer, the more time that we gather, I feel like our relationship is stronger and stronger. And so people who do not even think about that, do not have like the intention to have a relationship that is successful, or even think about what do a successful relationship look like to them, that they'll do anything. If you don't stand for nothing, you will literally fall for anything. And that will put you in very embarrassing situations. Like, yeah. I hate people staying together for the kids. Don't stay together for the kids.
Oh my gosh, I hate that so much. I might have brought this to the podcast before. I had a conversation with a relative about that one time. We were talking about, I don't know how we got on, on the subject. And they were like really adamant about they would never divorce their wife if they had kids. But it was just for the kids. And they were like, I don't know. It was sad. It had something to do with just showing the kids about marriage. But then my rebuttal was just like, so you want to teach your kids to just be unhappy in a marriage?
And in life in general, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, if you unhappy in one area of your life, it only starts to slowly consume the rest of your life until you totally unhappy, period.
Yeah.
I feel like the best thing that I could have did for my kids was leave their dad, because I was so fucking depressed. I was literally just losing myself. And is that the version of myself that I wanted my kids to grow up with? It wasn't. Like, it fucking wasn't. And now they just, I could show up in a much better place. And even though I experienced depression that we together, I have somebody that is supporting and understanding of what I'm going through. And you just support me, or you just there to help me with the kids. Like, I don't have to say it. I don't have to ask you. It's just second nature to you because it's something that you want to be doing. It don't feel like a chore to you. Like, I don't know if you feel that way, but it don't come off like that.
I don't. That would be weird. If you don't want to take care of your kids, just say that.
Yeah. And I feel like it teaches your kids to have higher standards. There's going to be a certain point in your life when your kid starts to look at you differently, like a person and not just a parent. And they're going to have realizations about you. And if you showing up as the real version of you, and your kids get it the most because you really can't hide it at home, you really showing up as your true self, eventually they're going to start to see, like, look at you sideways, like, damn, why is my mom staying around for this? They're going to start to lose respect for you if they have that free thinking mentality to say that they know that that's not how they would want to be treated in a relationship. They might even vocalize to you, like, why are you with my dad? Like, once they hit that certain age, kids be saying stuff. I mean, we see it on the internet, we see it on Twitter, we see it on TikTok, and people always say, like, I lost so much respect for my mom watching her constantly be degraded or cheated on, or just being unhappy, or not being supported, or not having a balance. Like, what are you doing? And like, the same thing go for men. You guys have that same opportunity to be happy, and if you choose not to take it just for the kids, it's not doing a service to nobody. Both me and my kids' dad is much better parents now that we're not together. Like, it had to be that.
Yeah. I feel like it's hard for people to grasp the idea that that's possible. Like, that you can be a better parent. Like, separate from the other parent.
And I feel like it's codependency. Like, until you get kind of released, until you detach from who you are in that relationship versus who you just are. It's like the same thing with being a parent. You see yourself a certain way as a parent, and until you detach from that and say, although I'm mom, I'm still me as fuck. Like, you're gonna keep doing stuff that are constantly below your standards. And I don't want my kids to see me that way. I want them to have this impression of me that I'm strong, not in a strong black woman type of way, but that I had the motivation to keep going, that I put my happiness first. And I truly see the difference in our household versus dad's household, and how our relationships function. And it makes me happy knowing that they get to see that, even the differences in our relationship, so they could decide for themselves what they want. Like, they wouldn't know until they start getting around other people, or maybe seeing TV shows and movies and shit as they get older, and thinking like, oh, so none of this is normal? Like, no, it's not. So many kids grew up in abusive households, even if the abuse not being inflicted on the kids. It's like between both of the parents, like, and then they start to think it's normal. Then they go out and get somebody that abuses them in that same way. And like I said, there's layers to abuse. Somebody just might talk to you fucked up or put you down. Somebody might take advantage of you financially. You know, it is layers to abuse. Somebody could literally be beating you up every day, and they might never lay a hand on your child, but your child might see that as normal behavior, and then they go out in the world, and the people that they find themselves are attracted to is the people they could relate to, because they've been surrounded by that kind of behavior all their life. So I feel like it's a disservice to your kids to stay married when you're not happy. For whatever reason. I don't care what the reason is. If y'all not willing to continuously work on the relationship and grow individually, don't stay together.
I agree. Leave them.
It's like that one song, let's stay together. Whether you're good or bad or happy or sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, depending on your perspective of that, it could be a good thing. But depending on your experience, it could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, how I hear that song and reflect on me and Cherry's relationship, it's like, yeah, let's stay together. But then how I reflect on past relationships, it's like, get me out of here.
You can feel it, though, when you really need to leave. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I know me in the past, it was always there every second of every moment. Like, you should really get out of this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think
It'd be
that
there.
in my...
I said it'd be there.
Yeah. I think in my last relationship, I was like in denial so much. But I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And if things kept happening or feelings kept surfacing that was telling me that, like, this is not the person that you're supposed to be with. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, when I got out of that relationship, I couldn't trust myself because for so long I kept accepting things that I knew I should have been let go of, or I didn't, or I deserved better than, or just that it was unhealthy, period, rather on my end or the other person's end. And I was like, dang, now I'm in this relationship where I was dating that person. It's like, hold on, don't try and move too fast on me because I'm not scared because I'm not a good decision maker. And it's like,
Yeah.
that'd be a whole thing.
These sounds that you hear in the background, there's some renovating going on in our home, and that's what that is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We pretty much ain't got no other time to record this. If I don't record this now, I'm going to be asleep.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Podcast life, pets, hashtag also authentic life and real life.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you don't have a quiet space to record in, and we're getting there.
Mm-hmm. Facts, B.
You want to move into mental health matters?
Mental health matters. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to discuss or influence you guys to think about the relationships you are maintaining with people that you either don't like them or they do not like you.
Mm-hmm.
We know this from elementary experiences and interactions with other people. You can tell when somebody don't like you, baby.
Yeah.
The energy just different. Because when somebody do like you be like, dang. It's almost scary. You be like, you put it on thick. Like, you really liking me. And you know the difference, okay?
Yeah.
And I think that it's kind of like that settling thing. And it might be different reasons when you say, like, oh, do you really like this person? Or even, are you really attracted to this person? Can you really see a future with yourself and this person? And if you don't, like, just stop even getting the relationship started. Like, I don't even know why people do entertain it.
They be bored. They don't want to be alone.
They be using people as placeholders until the next one come along.
Yes. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but I don't know how to... Something you gotta work out on your own. Like, why do you need somebody to take up that space?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just chill. Like,
Yeah. I think it's very valuable to have breaks in between long-term relationships, and really relationships in general is really important. To have that moment to yourself, to reflect, to grow, to acknowledge what you want and also what you would like your next relationship to look like, or if you want to be single. You know what I'm saying? And I think enough people don't do that, and then they find themselves in relationships with people that they don't like or really don't like them because they coming out of a place of desperation. Like, I'll just be with anybody or whoever's asking.
yeah, or like, they want me, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I've definitely been that girl before, and in some relationships, it led to them either trying to change me And some relationship, it led to that like crazy love bombing because they was infatuated with me, but they really didn't like me as a person. And obviously those relationships do not last long once they realize they do not like you.
That's so
like
crazy.
you like this, but there's a person in here. I'm not some type of theory that you just made up and I'm supposed to like fit into your lifestyle the way you want it and the girl that you think you're supposed to be with. Like, I can't change for you. You have to accept how I am and you have to like this. And if you don't like it, why are we wasting our time?
Get out of here.
Like, it's time for me to go home.
For real.
Let's get into the breaks.
Let's do it.
Any new music that you're peeping?
Well, yesterday, for my Slim Thug fans, I saw that he dropped the project and I completely missed it. It's called Midlife Crisis. I started listening to it. I didn't finish it. I'm gonna go back. I mean, it's Slim Thug. It's not really... He has a specific sound, so I mean, if you like it, then
he's got that straight out of Houston. Okay, you know what you getting with Slim Thug. Okay, Boss Hog.
Yeah,
I fuck with Slim Thug. I'm definitely gonna check it out. And the crazy part is he really in his bag because it's like his second project he dropped this year. I was like, I thought this was a different project that we talked about a few months ago. No, girl, he just out in here at the studio working. And I recently seen like another side to him because I feel like he came out in a time where there wasn't like a lot of press for especially black rappers, especially male black rappers. And they had like the College Hill. I don't know if you ever see that, but sometimes I see clips. Yeah. And it's like real good when you can find somebody that's like watching them on TikTok and then you can like really watch it without having to have all the streaming networks or they keep uploading the different parts. Like, and I seen a conversation between him and Big Frida. If you guys don't know Big Frida, she is... I don't even think that she claims trans. She's very much like us where the label is for other people. And so she like, I'm just Big Frida. Yeah. Love her down. The impact that she makes on music, really, a lot of people don't even realize that they listen to something that was influenced from Big Frida. Been doing their thing, but as somebody that could be perceived as a trans woman, you know what I'm saying, she just get certain things. And so he had a conversation, was like, you know, I really personally don't have no relationships with anybody like you. I just want to sit down and talk to you and understand, like, you know, what is your preferences or what you like to be called, or like, you know, how did you get into this lifestyle? What did this lead to? And I feel like there could be so much growth in our communities if people take the time and make effort to get to know people outside of their individual circle or outside of the people that their lifestyles are the same as. Because when you around people that like are constantly agreeing with you, it's like called confirmation bias. You can't never get a new perspective, and that way you never growing because there's everybody around you is a yes man. Everybody's agreeing with you. Everybody's saying, girl, no, that wasn't fucked up what you did. King his car, fuck that nigga. Like, no. A good friend is gonna tell you, nah, bitch, why did you destroy that man's property? That was totally unnecessary. You trying to go to jail? Is it that serious? Like, a real friend gonna pull up on you and hold you accountable. Yeah. In my opinion. Like, and I was here for that, and so that made me appreciate and admire him more, and that made me want to check out his music more.
Yeah, I fuck with him. I like him as a person, so I think that's why I've been able to be a fan as an adult. Yeah, he's cool.
He's a cool dude. What else came out? Sexy Red dropped a few singles. I mentioned last week the SRT remix with Lil Durk. And then this week she dropped a remix to Shake Your Dreads, Shake Your Dreads, Shake Your Dreads. She can't do no wrong in my book. And yeah, I'm here for the music that's constantly putting out, her just getting in the studio. I'm loving to see how well she's being received in the industry. Mostly a lot of people just trying to hop on the bandwagon so they can get some views, but we won't go there.
It's a lot of that going around.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. But shout out to Sexy.
Shout out. And we love nice young woman that isn't afraid to wear her glasses. She's inspiring for me. I'm not there yet.
You wear your glasses all the time.
I'm talking about
because you need them to see. Oh, well, I mean, I thought that we didn't wear our glasses on the podcast because of the glare. Like, I like to wear my glasses, but I like to wear my glasses as an accessory, and I feel like some outfits go with them and some outfits don't. And so it's no shame when I don't wear my glasses. It's on, that's just not giving, the vibe is not giving glasses. Eva gonna tell me the other day, you look like a librarian. And I was like, Eva, that's a stereotype. And I had to explain to her what stereotype was. And then I challenged her and I said, next time we go to the library, because we go every week that they're here, I said, we're going to do an experiment and we are going to see how many librarians have glasses. And she said librarians have glasses in a bun. My brace was in a bun. She said I was giving librarian vibes, and I was like, girl, that is a stereotype, because how many librarians really got glasses?
That's very specific, and where did she get that from?
TV. And TV, even as young as 4 or 5, 3 years old, the librarians be having glasses because people think glasses means that makes somebody look more educated. And so somebody that's like reading books all the time is supposed to give off this bookwormy vibe. And then there's that added sexual element where she's totally unaware of at this point. But as you grow, you start to see why people say stuff about librarians. And that's like very, very much giving porn fantasy. Like, oh, the glasses just make you look so studious. And then next thing you know, they got a whole fetish for either librarians or schoolgirls. And it's weird. If a nigga asks you to put your hair in 2 pigtails, you need to start looking through his Instagram and seeing what pictures is he liking. Because if the girls is underage, call the police.
Child, go to his Twitter and see what he got bookmarked.
You gotta hide the bookmarks and the likes on Twitter. I'm gonna be honest with you, because it's the same thing about TikTok. It's like letting somebody scroll your For You page. They like getting a look inside of your head for the most part. I feel like it's very intimate. But I feel like if you get in certain, energy, you should check it out. Like, read into it, because pedophilia is a real thing. And I feel like a lot of people are, and they hide it. And so you need to make a show.
Yeah.
What
else you got? Lola Brooke dropped her new song with Bryson Tiller. Is it called You or For You?
It's called You.
You. She sampled the Foxy Brown song. What's the name of that song?
Gotta get you home alone with me tonight.
Gotta get you home. That song.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Shout out to Foxy Brown.
Shout out Foxy. Shout out Lola. And just a small message for the girls. Because I see what they're doing with Lola. And Malibu, this could have been you. For those who don't know, I'm talking about Malibu Mitch. She's another rapper that raps in a deep voice. Love her. Beautiful girl, beautiful gowns, good music. It's just, there's something to say for people that have their partners being their management. Specifically if you're from a certain environment.
Or work in a certain profession.
They're not really ideal for management positions. And it generally does not work out the way that you plan.
I feel like people be trying to keep money in house, and so they like, I'm gonna give a job to my homeboy, I'm gonna give a job to my nigga, I'm gonna give a job to my cousin, and without real thought of what are they gonna look like in that position, and are they capable? Do they have the qualifications? You gotta be putting out the application like you're paying them, and they represent your brand and influence your brand. There's so many girls like that, and sometimes it's not even the relationship, sometimes it's the management team. Like one of my favorite artists is what is her name? I can't think of it. She sing Wild Style with Cardi B. I'm ready to pull up on you. Why can't I think of her name right now? It's like there, right there, but for some reason... Normani.
Yeah.
Yes. She is so talented on so many levels. And every time you see her pop out and she drops something and it goes viral and you say, why is she not getting all these brand deals? Part of it is colorism, but I genuinely think her management hates her and does not want her to see her win. Like, you get with management and they either prioritizing other artists ahead of you because of however they making money off of it, or maybe they don't see the true value in you and so they're not really pushing you to get what you need to make your coin. I don't know what it is, but it'd be some weird stuff going on.
I mean, that, and when you really think about it, people don't... Pop R&B is not something that people support long term. Like, when you go through artists that make music like that, where does their career really go? Like, it's like the same argument for just R&B in general. Specifically women that have beautiful voices and make good music, but their careers don't go anywhere because people don't really want to hear that. They don't really want to support it.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's an era for everything, for real though. And so it's important for us to be authentic, but it's smart of us, and it's like one of those, you working smarter and creating ease in your life than working harder and then fighting against the current, because sometimes you might have to do something that's trendy, or you know what I'm saying, certain things that's gonna, like, you know, bring your brand out, and I think a lot of artists don't be willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, TikTok has changed a lot of artists' platform and have grown their audiences so much, like off the strength of people being to see the real them, or even just a little snippet of their song going viral, and then next thing you know, they're getting all these deals. You know what I'm saying? I like Lola Brooke. I like her sound.
I love Lola Brooke.
I personally think she's so cute how little she is. Like, I just love that because I can relate to that. I'm like a small queen, you know?
Yeah.
And I did not personally really enjoy the song, and not because the song was bad, but just because my own opinion on samples. Yeah. And it's like, I didn't feel like the song gave a new energy to the sample, especially because her voice is so similar to Foxy Brown. And I wish that people would sample maybe some more older music that maybe would bring something out and be like, what is this? A whole new funky sound. I just feel like it's not innovative no more. And so the reason I'm not like into it like that is just, it's not the song really, it's just the act of the song of what is popular right now and what's gonna get people the most things. And that's another thing that be like, that's something that's gonna push your brand, that's gonna bring you in more audience if you use the samples that's like hot, or they was super hot and trendy at one point, that people are gonna have that emotional connection to it because of nostalgia. And I just like, where is the creative vibes? It's getting annoying.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I wasn't fucking with it. That's what I'm saying. That's how you know when you kill a sample. Like, did this feel like a whole new song, or do when you think of that song you literally start singing the lyrics to the other song?
Yeah.
It irritates me, and I especially hate when they just take the lyrics and
Oh yeah, it's like a whole different level of, okay, you didn't do anything here.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you remember that song that came out a few years ago, and I can't remember the artist who sang it because she kind of like disappeared, or at least from mainstream music, and it used to be to the Sierra and 50 Cent song Can't Leave 'Em Alone, and it's like they tweaked the lyrics a little bit, and it was a cool song, but it was like, it literally was Can't Leave 'Em Alone. I can't leave him alone. I was like, what is this?
That's crazy.
For the music of the week this week, I wanted to shout out a playlist that just came out. You know, you guys, if you frequent listeners of the show, you know I love a good DJ playlist. It's really reminiscent to my club days, and when I can hear those scratches on the beat, like authentic DJ and not somebody that just got a laptop, no shade, but all shade.
Okay.
I feel like there's a difference if you can scratch some records, if you can mix songs, if you have the creative ability to do a mashup. All mashups don't mash up.
Yes. And a lot of y'all, we've had this conversation before. These mashups sound terrible. Like, a mashup is not just putting two songs together that sound good individually.
Yeah.
They have to line up. If the lyrics sound off from the beat, it's not a good mashup. What are you doing?
It's nice when the context of the lyrics kind of flow together too. Like, there's so many elements to it, and you know when it sounds good because it gets you excited about hearing like, oh, they mixed this and that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite DJs, DJ Honeybee. I mentioned her before on the podcast, but she will do these different sets and then she'll put them out as a playlist on Apple Music or Spotify. So she got a new playlist that just come out. It's called Thirst Trap Volume 2, and it's giving all of the party, all of the end of summer vibes, and chef's kiss.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you? Or is there anything specific you listened to this week that's not Renaissance?
Oh, that's not Renaissance? Not really. I started listening to the Doja Project.
Okay.
I forgot the name of it. I just know the cover art is two spiders. This is a good project. This is good music. It sounds good. It's just kind of boom bap rap adjacent, and that is not my vibe. So that's where she's losing me personally. But other than that, it sounds really good.
Yeah. I'm personally, exempting myself from listening to the album. Definitely, I still hear the songs because her songs always go up on TikTok or just like she does make good music, but y'all know how I feel. Like if my personal values just don't align with somebody's brand or at least what they pushing forward, I don't think Doja Cat is in the Illuminati. I think that she herself and her brand is very good at manipulating their audience by doing certain stuff that's going to get them attention even if it's bad. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like less about the demonic aspect of that, because I feel like if she were to release that more on Halloween, it would have been a vibe. And it's more to me about the incel behavior that she attracts and I feel like promote. Yeah, if you don't know what an incel is, it's basically like men who don't have any real relationships with women, and so they have these very unrealistic expectations of what that looks like. A lot of it is based off on like sexually how they view you, and a lot of them either don't have a lot of sex or never had sex. So once again, it's very unrealistic. It's like based on things that they've seen in movies, sexual movies, and like stuff like that. So it's just very weird, and the root of incel is so racist. And I just think as somebody who say nigga in her music and claims to be black, she need to get it together with that.
I do want her to stop saying nigga.
I do want her to stop saying nigga.
Yeah.
I feel like when it comes to being biracial, it's up to you to choose if you feel like you are more connected to your blackness, if you are more connected to caucasity, or maybe you are somebody who generally feels like I'm both. Like I'm not picking a side, I'm both. I'm influenced by both sides. And all of that is okay, but I feel like if you do certain shit, whether you claim it or not, people are going to perceive you as one way. And Doja Cat is very much starting to give white woman And like white women can be the biggest enemy of the black community, especially towards black women, how oppressive their behaviors could be. And so somebody to keep going around saying nigga, saying nigga, saying nigga, it's starting to bother me. Like, it's starting to feel degrading. Like, I don't think you should be calling me a nigga. And I say nigga all the time. I think all black people should be able to say it. If you identify as black, you should be able to say nigga. But I feel like if your lifestyle does not align with that of the black experience, not saying it's a monolith, but y'all know what certain things include with black experience, and mostly generally people perceiving you and treating you like a black person in the world, and you experiencing shit like racism and all of the stuff, colorism, then maybe you earned the right to say nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because you experienced a certain level of oppression, and I just don't think that Doja has, and that's why she act the way that she act, and so she shouldn't say it.
Yeah, it just feels weird because to me it's very obvious that she does identify as a non-black person.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, she don't date any black dudes. That's the key indicator right there. I feel like that's almost the same thing as when black men have a preference for white women. I think it's weird as fuck.
Yeah, like, you don't want to be a part of this. And it's fine for you, but like, don't say nigga.
And then if you have predominantly white friends and you a black person, even if you biracial, I feel like your lifestyle kind of reflect that. Your ideals reflect that of whiteness. And so you shouldn't just be going around saying derogatory terms. You're in cahoots with them. That make me feel like you be saying it with them and y'all be saying it together, and I don't like that.
They definitely do.
Like, if you as a black person in any facet allow white people to say the N-word with you without even a peaceful correction of it, give me the card. Now, there's one more song I wanted to mention because it's literally been stuck in my head crazy, and I'm still trying to do the dance. And it's by Tyler. It's called Water. If you haven't heard it yet or seen the dance videos going around, you might be living under a rock. But I just love that song, and it's just on my mind. You know, the Caribbean vibes is giving. I like the dance, a little booty pumping. You know what I'm saying? I love it. So
I'm here for it. You know, I love that vibe. I love a good sensual moment. It just gets me every time.
Anything you can whine to.
Yeah. Anything you can hit a nice body roll to.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
Well, what are you making time for this week?
Ooh. Getting my life together.
What does that mean?
I don't have a schedule right now. And it's because all I want to do is sleep. But it's keeping me from doing things that I need to do.
I totally understand how you feel. And I don't want to like downplay your feelings or, you know, not acknowledge how you're feeling, because it's a very real thing. But I do think you should give yourself some grace, because there's just moments in our lives that even though it doesn't feel productive, even though we know we got shit to do, the best thing that you can do is rest. Because how good of the outcome is going to be if you burnt out or just generally tired. Like, if you oversleep, or, you know what I'm saying, decide to sleep in one day and you had plans to do a bunch of stuff, I feel like you should acknowledge at least that day that you're tired as fuck. And so maybe you should, you know, develop a new routine, but it needs to require more. Am I saying it right this time? Require. It needs to require more balance and more rest into that naturally, so you don't feel like you're, you know, going outside of what you want like that schedule to be.
It's
like,
so hard though. I feel like I have limited time when I am awake before I have to do something else.
Well, you know what they say, you got the same 24 hours as Beyonce.
Beyonce,
I think that shit's gaslighting, and that was totally a joke. Please don't think I believe that. I think it's gaslighting.
We do not have the same 24 hours because we don't have the same resources.
And that's what it comes down to. You find a lot more time in your day when you have other people taking care of things for you in all kind of aspects, whether it's your children, whether it's certain aspects of your work where you can outsource it and so it's less on your plate. There's a lot of things that go into it. You have way more time to be creative and intentional and shit like that when you have a supportive system, and sometimes that support has to be bought. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. What are you making time for?
I really want to prioritize my health this month, but I kind of feel the same way as you, because it's not that I can't be doing nothing else different, but I don't want to be doing nothing else different. Mm-hmm. I don't want to change my lifestyle. I'm constantly changing my lifestyle for my health, and I feel like the goalposts be getting moved farther and farther away. I stop eating certain stuff, or I'll eat it occasionally, like once every 3 months to indulge, or you know what I'm saying? I'm like doing certain things that's eliminating stress for my life. But then it's like, it's always some bullshit. And then next thing you might know, my health is suffering. I'm just like, I don't really know how to make it better. I feel like anybody who has health condition that is like non-curable, you know what I'm saying? You about to be dealing with this shit for the rest of your life. It's like a constant ongoing like battle of your mental health, your emotional health, and your physical health, managing having whatever disease or condition. And that's just where I've always been with Crohn's disease. I've never had any type of understanding. Like, it's one of those situations like, why would God do this to me? Yeah, like I always feel that way.
It seems like a really fucked up thing to make somebody deal with.
Yeah. Like, why is this shit even invented? And not to say that it's invented, because you know a lot of people think that, oh, God created everything, and it's like, okay, so why would he be creating all these diseases to make people sick? But in reality, I feel like that's another form of manipulation and gaslighting. It's like diseases come from the unhealthy state of our country, and so that looks like the food that we're consuming and what ingredients are being put into it that are just totally bad for our health. That might look like the acceptable working conditions in America, and so you are in such a stressful state so much. I feel like so many people be stressed out that that's their normalcy. Like, they don't even know how to be at peace, and that's like truly a thing, in which adds to you having health issues. Like, there's so many things that's systemic that lead to that. And yeah, so that's I guess what I'm making time for this week. I don't know.
Okay. Well, without further ado, I've got time.